Good evening, one and all, and welcome to episode 272 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, coming to you live from YouTube. I'll get the boring stuff out of the way first. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do consider doing so. And if you would like to support my work, you will find a link to how you can do that in the video description below by buying me a coffee, so to speak. But anyway, let's get on with the important stuff. Thank you very much for tuning in, whether you're watching live or you're watching the recording. First comment of this video goes to Holly, who says hello, but Proto Society is here as well, hanging around. Philatelic Cafe says hello. Cloudy's here as well. Angela's here too. Welcome, Angela, saying hi there, Persolaise and everyone. And James is saying hello all the way from Jakarta. Natasha is saying welcome back, Persolaise. Thank you very much. So what have we got in store for you today? Because I know that those of you who watch live like to be able to plan ahead a little bit, understandably. Well, we're going, I've just seen Mark's comment. That's very, very kind. Hopefully I won't bring the tone down too much. The plan for today is to do a single video, but a sort of feature-length video, and to be relaxed and talk about lots and lots of different things. Well, a few different things with you. I shouldn't exaggerate. What's San saying? Hello from India. Just bought my first 3 serious fragrances ever. What's a serious fragrance? Dior Homme Intense, Chopard Black Incense Malaquais, and Terre d'Hermès EDT I'm in Love. Well, enjoy them all, and thank you very much for tuning in. Frag Chi-Town says greetings from Woodstock, Illinois. You're all very, very welcome. Don't forget that whether you're watching the live or you're watching the recording, please do feel free to leave a comment or ask a question at any time. I would like to be able to talk about a few different things today, but I think mostly we will be spending our time on these guys here. They don't come in this pot. I've just had to find something into which I can place these 10 ml samples. This is the debut collection from the new Dries Van Noten range, but more on that in a moment. But I thought we should mark the occasion by having a sniff of vintage this stuff. And I should also say Eid Mubarak to everyone celebrating it, because I think in some parts of the world it was decided that today would be the first day of Eid, whereas I think in the Middle East, certainly in the UAE, today is the last day of Ramadan, and so tomorrow is the first day of Eid. But from time differences, yes, Ramadan's well and truly over in the UAE now, so people are feasting, I am sure. I love your Chinese vase yesterday, says James. I notice you've changed your vase back as usual. Well, I try to do different things, as you know, but we don't always have fresh flowers in the house, and so we have to go for these silk flowers. We need to start with this because it is the 1st of May, right? And so people up and down France, so we are led to believe, are giving each other little bouquets of lily of the valley. And of course, Dior's Diorissimo is the quintessential lily of the valley scent. I'm not going to spend ages talking about this one because you've heard me talking about it before. I've written lots about it, but we just had to open with this. Now, this is a vintage EDT. The one that I would love to be able to get my hands on again is a good quality Esprit de Parfum. I don't know what it is about Diorissimo, but I guess there's something about its composition, there's something about its formula that means that some batches just age better than others. This one, I must admit, I'm going to spray some now, at its top, does that kind of slightly vinegary thing that some old scents do. Holly says, thanks to your recommendation, I got a huge tester of Esprit de Parfum for a good price. But was it in good quality? Because the thing that makes the Esprit de Parfum so special, if it's a batch that hasn't oxidized too much and is still in good quality, the thing that makes it so special is that you get that beautiful, heartbreaking freshness of the lily of the valley, but also the civet and the funkiness that Edmond Rudnitska so cleverly and so slyly put into the composition. As Natasha says, happy 1st of May, Fête de Muguet. So this is marking the 1st of May. Lily of the Valley. I picked some Lily of the Valley from the garden today to bring good luck and happiness, says Christine B. Fingers crossed. Good luck to all of us. I have pretty much nearly always failed in my attempt to grow Lily of the Valley in our garden. If anybody's got any advice, please feel free to send it my way. And I kind of, for this year, I gave up. Maybe next year I need to get some bulbs again and to try again. So Yeah, once you get past that slight turn that the green notes at the top have done. Happy International Labour Day, says Frida. Absolutely, absolutely. It's a bank holiday in the UK tomorrow. So hope those of you who are in the UK are going to enjoy your extra day off. Have reformulations been kind to Diorissimo, asks Cloudy. I'm not savvy enough to sniff out a vintage perfume. I would say in a word, no. And actually, what with the latest restrictions that have been placed on perfume makers, I dread to think what subsequent batches, forthcoming batches of Diorissimo are going to be like. But for those of you who don't know, this is surely the most beautiful Lily of the Valley scent ever made, a classic from Edmond Rudnitska, the most beautiful Lily of the Valley scent ever made in its original guise, because it is pretty much impossible nowadays to do a truly accurate, faithful Lily of the Valley. But if you ever find an oldish looking bottle of Diorissimo somewhere, you need to snap it up. But let's move on. That's just my little way to mark the occasion. Because, like I said, I want to spend a bit of time on the Dries Van Noten scents. How many of you out there have tried them? There's going to be a lengthy preamble to smelling these. We're not going to smell every single one because there are 10. In fact, I believe that there are now 12, but I may be mistaken about that. Certainly when the PRs got in touch with me about it, I think at that time there were only 10, and they sent me these 10 vials, but I believe that there are now 2 more. Woozy saying, let's just plug Muguet Porcelaine from Hermès. Yes, that is a really good one. And I think I've talked about it here before. Jean-Claude Eleanor definitely rose to the challenge of trying to make a convincing modern Muguet, but there's still something that smells not quite right about them. So how many of you out there have tried the new Dries Van Notens? Let's keep an eye on the comments here as they go. Oh, Claire is saying, happy to say I bought the same Diorissimo on eBay during lockdown. Other auction sites are available. Actually, no. Are there other auction sites available? I don't think they are. Good purchase. Think it was a sealed box. Still would love to smell the original. Get me to the Osmotek. I think we should all go to the Osmotek one day. So back in 2013, I believe it was 2013, none other than Frederic Malle announced that he was going to be doing, that he would be doing a collaboration scent with the highly regarded, quite sort of intellectually well-regarded Belgian designer, Dries Van Noten, who by that point had already built up a tremendous reputation for himself as being quite an avant-garde, idiosyncratic designer who maybe didn't go chasing the limelight in quite the same way as some of his peers. In other words, a very good fit with Frederic Malle, because everything about Dries Van Noten was also about quality, longevity, integrity. And they got Bruno Jovanovic to compose this scent, which was just called Dries Van Noten by Frederic Malle. And it was extraordinary. I remember it was one that I smelt for the first time at the independent perfumery store in Nice called Tanagra, which last time I checked was still there. And it wasn't immediate love at first scent with that one, but it was certainly love by the time I'd walked the short distance to the hotel in which we were staying, because it was one of those wonderful moments that happen sometimes with a perfume where you about half an hour after you sprayed it, you suddenly think, gosh, who smells so good? What smells so amazing? What smells so gorgeous? Oh, I know, it's me. And I had that moment with the Dries Van Noten. It somehow managed to be quirky and classy and sophisticated and timeless and edgy and modern at the same time. Beautiful sandalwood base, but also this completely unexpected and yet spot-on genius, caramelly, biscuity, speculoos, spicy type opening. It was just wonderful. I'm pretty sure I included it on my list of the best perfumes of the last decade. Absolutely had to have a bottle for myself. I remember it was that year when Madame Persolaise asked me what I would like for Christmas. I said I would very much love to get a bottle of the Dries Van Noten, and she said that I must be kidding asking for a bottle of perfume, and I said I really, really wasn't kidding, because I absolutely wanted to have that one in my collection, and she very kindly got it for me, and I still have that bottle. And where are we going with this long preamble? Where we are going is that a little while ago it was announced that that would be discontinued from the Frederic Malle range, and I'm pretty sure it was the first announcement of a discontinuation. And then we were able to piece the little bits of the puzzle together and work out exactly what had happened, because the Dries Van Noten license, I'm not sure if it was the whole company. I'm get lost with the ins and outs, but the information will be there on the internet, I'm sure. But the Dries Van Noten license was picked up by Puig, the Spanish company that also own L'Artisan Parfumeur and Penhaligon's, and they also do the scents for Jean-Paul Gaultier. They certainly did Prada, but I don't know if they still do Prada. Maybe they don't do Prada anymore. And then they got the Dries Van Noten license. And so then I think people started thinking, oh, right, okay, so that's why Frederic Malle, Estee Lauder couldn't continue with Dries Van Noten, because there was going to be competition. And then we discovered a little while ago that collection by Puig would consist of no fewer than 10 perfumes, maybe 12, but I don't know about those 2 extra ones. I haven't smelt those 2 extra ones. Comme des Garçons as well, says Andy Goring. Yes, but only one of the Comme des Garçons ranges, right? That's when it starts getting confusing with Comme. But anyway, you are right. So bringing us right back up to the present day, I think a lot of us, when we found out that it was going to be 10 cents, that's when we thought, oh, because, as you know, if you are the sort of person who has come to this channel, then you will know this. It is pretty hard to make 10 cents in one go that are all going to come across as innovative and edgy and cutting edge and quirky and idiosyncratic, as you would hope scents from Dries Van Noten would be. And maybe that was when alarm bells started ringing for some of us, because we thought, okay, is this just going to be yet another designery fragrance range? Is it a case of the fashion side of the business perhaps not doing so well, and Dries Van Noten thinking, I need to make I need to have a more reliable income stream? And to cut this very, very, very long story slightly shorter, although I did say we would be spending quite a bit of time on this collection, having smelt them, we need to say from the very, very start that they are not, that they don't display that same level of innovation and intrigue that the Frederic Malle Dries Van Noten scent did. They're just not that type of perfume. In fact, when I first smelt them, I must admit to feeling a little bit disappointed, but I suppose maybe I was just unrealistic in my expectations. These are, they're what would Obi-Wan Kenobi be saying right now? He'd be saying, these are not the Dries Van Noten scents you're looking for. And they're really not. And I think they're not trying to be the Dries Van Noten scents that maybe the likes of you and I would have been looking for. It would have been difficult to, as I say, to do 10 on that level, on that standard. But after I had my initial sniff, and after I had I confess, my initial disappointment, I thought, okay, let's let some time pass, and let's return to these and try to reevaluate them on their own terms. So what are the things that I can say about them? I can say that of the 10 that I smelt, there isn't a single one in there actually that is bad. And I mean that genuinely. There isn't a single one that made me think, oh my goodness, what on earth were they thinking here? There isn't a single one that made me, crinkle up my forehead and make me think, are they having a laugh? Surely they're joking. They all display a certain kind of base level of quality and attention to detail. But no, sorry, I take that back. What they don't display is attention to detail, but they display a certain level of base quality in the materials that have been used, in the kind of basic execution of the central premise. But what they're not is terribly detailed. They're not terribly nuanced. They're just not, with maybe with the exception of one or two, but they're just not terribly innovative. Just the other day, 2 days ago, in fact, wasn't it? I did a video on the new range of 5 perfumes from L'Artisan Parfumeur called Le Potager. And out of those 5, 3 were genuinely surprising. There were 3 of them that made me think, gosh, I don't think I've smelt like something like this for a long time. The other 2 were a little bit more pedestrian, a little bit more familiar. But, 3 out of 5 in this day and age is pretty damn good going. The Dries Van Notens are all kind of solid, well-made, absolutely pleasant, without being especially striking or arresting. And they're also pretty expensive. So let's the best way to kind of describe what I mean about them. Let me find the one I will. Oh, this is going to be interesting because how do you find them when you? I'm gonna save this one for a moment because that is actually one of the more interesting ones, so that I don't have to go hunting through. And I will tell you what all of them are. Right, I'm looking for, there we go. Okay. I won't tell you what this is called for a moment, okay? So I'm going to spray this. This is one of the rose ones. Interestingly, they have 2 rose ones. Let's pop that on here for a sec. Is that going to stay there? Maybe not. Let's just leave it there. Okay, so. Right. So this is kind of politely spicy, politely rosy, nice little sort of patchouli note coming through. You can tell that it's going to be quite diffusive. All of them actually have got the volume knob turned up quite high, which is interesting. Is that another thing, that they're meant to be quite crowd grabbing? And there's a nice kind of pepperiness coming through. It all feels relatively convincing. It is definitely several notches above what you might get from mainstream brand. This is not in the level of most Dolce and Gabbanas and Versace's and what have you. So it's all terribly pleasant and terribly nice and terribly polite and just so. And now let me tell you what this one is called, because this very pleasant rose, which has got, what has it officially got? Yes, vetiver. There's a vetiver note that comes through as well, and like I said, the patchouli. So a nice vetiver, peppery vetiver patchouli rose. This one is called Rosa Carnivora. Okay, and I thought, right, this says just about everything you need to know about the Dries Van Noten fragrance collection, because somebody, the powers that be behind this particular range, thought that a pleasant, unassuming, unostentatious rose like this could be called Rosa Carnivora. And again, to go back to, if you're the sort of person who watches this video, if I were to tell you that a fragrance is called Rosa Carnivora, I would be willing to bet that you would expect something with much bigger and much sharper teeth than this, and a lot more attitude. So if somebody like, if a brand like Papillon, okay, let's take an independent UK brand. If a brand like Papillon released a perfume called Rosa Carnivora, this is not what you would get from them. If Andy Tower released a perfume called Rosa Carnivora, it would not be a kind of safe, innocuous thing like this. Holly says it really ought to have some bite for a name like that. And Lynn says, meaty name for a polite, pretty rose, Rosa Carnivora, lol. And I think that tells you, it really does sort of sum up my main attitude towards this this range. So you get, there is a rose called Raving Rose. Okay, a lot of them do have strong names. Raving Rose actually is a quieter, more polite version of Frederick Mal's Portrait of a Lady. You get something called Voodoo Child, but which also looks like it's could be Voodoo Chile. And I get confused with that one because there's one called Velvet Cannabis, which is strong with its sort of vetiver note, and Voodoo Child is the one which is strong with its cannabis note. But it does have a marked cannabis note, but again, everything's sort of toned down. Everything is about being quieter. What are these comments? Jeff is saying, my first chance to be part of a live episode. Thank you for the excellent insights over the years. You're very, very welcome, Jeff, and thanks for tuning in. I've been catching up on all the older episodes through the pandemic, and it has been such a gift. Oh, that's very kind. I only saw that because I see Angela responding to something saying, that's great, Jeff. When I first discovered Persolaise at the beginning of 2020, I binge watched every single episode. That's very kind. I remember somebody saying at one point that they had seen more hours of me than they had watched of The Crown. But anyway, going back, so it's, there's nothing wrong with it in the sense that I can't say it's a bad perfume, but I also couldn't ever find myself wanting to spend what I think it's something in the region of, somebody can check it out, but I think in the UK these are going to be retailing at about £170 for 100 mils or something in that region, which is, that is a lot of money. For 100 mils, that's a lot of money. That puts you smack in Frederic Malle territory, and these are not Frederic Malles. So what have we got? We have got one called Jardin de l'Orangerie, which is, again, a very well done white floral, heavy on the jasmine and the ylang ylang. What was interesting about that was that it absolutely does not go down the route of those kind of cheap, unconvincing white florals that a lot of brands do. It sort of made me think, like a lot of white florals do, it made me think of like big hair adverts for hairdryers in the 80s. We've got this Rosa Carnivora, which I've mentioned. We've got the Raving Rose, which, as I say, is a kind of portrait of a lady wannabe. We've got Santal Greenery, which is a fig sandalwood combo. We've had fig sandalwood combos before. The fig note in this one is very, very nicely done. But then it starts doing that kind of creamy, milky thing that you would expect from a fig sandalwood combo scent. We've got the Velvet Cannabis, which, as I say, is a sort of strong herbal, vetiver patchouli scent. Then there's Voodoo Child, which has got a sort of main thread of rosemary and cannabis. And then there is Rock the Myrrh, which I guess is trying to flirt with more Arabian codes because it's doing that kind of resinous, balsamic, leathery, woody thing that you might expect. It doesn't list oud, and I don't think it has oud in it, but it's doing that kind of animalic, leathery thing. And then there are the three that I would particularly like to focus on because I think they're worth mentioning. I would say that they're the three best ones. So let me just label this. And what are people saying so far? Gian says, wish they'd worked something out to repurpose the Mal branded one, but I guess that's asking too much of both parties. Yeah, it probably is. Cloudy says, it would actually be interesting to see a scent inspired by carnivorous plants. Peat, something sour and a heavily sweet note to evoke decay, maybe. I agree, that would be interesting. Sounds like you're paying for the creative names, says Cole. It's me, Aubrey says, I tried these and didn't like any of them. Saved me thousands of dollars for sure. Yeah, they are not cheap. They're not cheap. Rachel says, I feel like Beaufort London actually does the music perfume connection well. Immortel says, looking forward to a fair review of this line, similar to the review of the Celine fragrances. And Natasha says, rock the Casbah. So this is Carnivora. Actually, the Celine comparison isn't bad, because those Celine scents also were fine. But I found it difficult to get really excited about them, and I would certainly find it difficult to justify spending a lot of money for them. But which are the three that I think are worth picking out? Let's find them. So no, Persolaise, you really should have prepared this better in advance. We've got two. I will find the third one in a moment. There we go. Okay. So the first one that's worth mentioning, just because it's a little bit more interesting than the others, is Neon Garden. By the way, striking bottle designs for these, and I think that's another reason why a lot of people got excited, because the bottles do look pretty cool in that proper Dries Van Noten way. I would love to know what Van Noten himself thinks of these scents, or if he had much to do with the creation of them. So this is Neon Garden. What makes Neon Garden interesting? Yeah, it's definitely relatively more innovative and original compared to the other ones, because what it's got is a minty iris opening. And I suppose mint and iris is a combination that you don't get too often. And according to the notes, it's both spearmint and peppermint. Oh, what's it? It's me, Aubrey, saying the bottles are excellent. I'm obsessed with iris and mint, but the ambroxan killed the entire fragrance for me. Well, thank you for preempting what I was about to say, because the minty irisness is curious, and in the notes that I was making while I was smelling these, I said that this would be the smell of a garden, or a sort of hydroponic garden up in space somewhere, if it were being attended to and looked after by C-3PO. That there is something properly sci-fi about it. Didn't Ropion do a mint iris for Le Bain Gabois? Maybe. Neon Garden kind of reminds me of Synthetic Jungle name-wise. Yeah, absolutely agree with you there. It's got that kind of feel to it. But it does make, as, who was it? I've already forgotten. As It's Me, Aubrey said, it does feature a very, very, very heavy dose of woody ambers in the base. As I was smelling it, I was thinking that it could also have almost have been like one of the sort of minty flankers of Mugler's Amen. But then what it really reminds you of is one of Renaud Salmon's first perfumes for Amouage. But I'm going to forget which one, which is the one that also had like a kind of minty opening and then became woody ambery towards the base. It's either Meander or Enclave. Somebody's going to help me out. I think, no, I don't want to say, because it's not the one. Enclave says again, thank you very much. Yeah, I was going to say, because Meander is the one that I think I prefer. And Enclave, I think, was by Julien Raquinet. It's got that kind of feel to it. So if you liked Enclave, you may want to check this one out. This is Neon Garden. The other two are better, and we'll go in ascending order of preference. So the other one that I would say is worth mentioning is Fleur du Mal. This is Fleur du Mal with MAL at the end, so a reference to the work of literature. And why did I think this one's worth mentioning? Because I think its osmanthus note is very well done, and that is a note that is so often badly done because it's done cheaply. Yeah, and the official notes list peach juice as a top note, and it does have that kind of delightfully cheap tinned peaches quality, you know, the sort of syrup from tinned peaches. It's Me, Aubrey says, I want to love that one also. 2 strikes. There you go. But I think the, you know, peaches, apricots, not a million miles away from each other. Apricot ties in very well with the osmanthus. Osmanthus, as we all know, also ties in with leatheriness. And that whole vibe here does work well without being especially heart-stopping, without being especially striking. None of these is especially striking, but at least this one was trying to be a little bit different. And I think that contrast between sickly fruitiness and more dangerous leatheriness does work. It's at least a lot more interesting than the other ones. And then my favorite, and I am actually quite fond of this one. I think if it weren't as expensive as it is, I would seriously consider treating myself to a bottle. This one, but I haven't been able to find out what the reference in the name is to, so maybe you'll be able to help me out. It's called Soie Malaquais, or I don't think it'll be pronounced Malaquais. Malaquais more. I've found out that Malaquais apparently is a district of Paris, also the name of a novelist. There you go. Frank Chaitan says the only one note-wise that sounds interesting is Soie Malaquais. Hope that is the third one. Yes, there you go. This one, does do it is the most layered, it is the most nuanced, it is the most intriguing. We're energetically aligned. This was my favorite, says It's Me Aubrey. I think it, because we kind of start thinking alike, those of us who watch these videos. I think we look for perfumes that have more things to say than just a sort of straightforward accord of, rose, pepper, patchouli or something. So yeah, this has got a fascinating kind of combo, and lo and behold, it's made by Quentin Bisch. Okay, so not that necessarily proves anything, because a lot of the other perfumers would have been working to briefs as well. Somebody's asking, do we mean soie as in silk? Yes, we do. And it does kind of have the slipperiness of silk. Do you remember when, was it Serge Lutens released a perfume a few years ago now called Bas de Soie, which also somehow managed to do that sort of light catching effect of silk. It's got a kind of tart black curranty opening, chestnutty cocoa base, and you can smell all of these things, and a rosy heart. And it's the contrasts do convince in this one, and I think that's why I was the most drawn to it. It's the one that that made me keep going back to it, made me keep re-smelling it. I recently wrote an article for a publication. It should be coming out soon, and I wanted to mention one of the Dries Van Notens, and this is the one that I mentioned. It is the one that seems to have more layers in it, that seems to just express more of the Dries Van Noten codes of sort of flirting with different inspirations, because there's something there's something Eastern about it, there's something European about it, there's something both comforting and surprising about it. Yeah, so this would be the one that I would say, if you can only get a sample of one, check this one out. Soie Malaquais. I noticed there aren't lots and lots of comments coming about what the reference in the name is. 24 Hoster says, I've been watching your live streams and I would like to say that you're making my anxiety go away. You're so chill. Oh, that's very nice. Anxiety be gone. Thinking of weather osmanthus combo, what do you think to Cuir de Chine Les Indemodables, says Valentina? Oh, I pretty much love everything that Les Indemodables have done. And Cuir de Chine is really, really good. It's Me Aubrey says, quite true. And of course, Quentin managed to pull it off. What's so crazy in the opening is that I get the canned peach here versus Fleur du Mal. Interesting. So to pop these back in the pot, we will do a blotter update on the ones that I've sprayed. If you happen to be going past a department store that stocks these, I think, somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, I think in the UK they're going to be available, or maybe they're already available at Selfridges. If you go past them, then by all means check them out. But like I said, these are not the Dries Van Noten scents that some of us might have been expecting, and they're also coming with a range of lipsticks, a huge range of lipsticks. There may be other sort of makeup products as well. So it's a big beauty machine that is rolling into gear for Dries Van Noten. And I guess when that sort of thing happens, then certain compromises have to be made along the way. And so I would say that if you are running low on your bottle of the original Frederick Malle Dries Van Noten, start looking online now, because of course they are going to be in ever diminishing supply. Immortel says, Dries seems to be launching this because he sold his brand to Pooch in 2018. See, I don't know about the ins and outs of all of that, but I didn't realize it was the whole brand that had gone. But if you're saying that, I'm sure it must be right. Where did you get your shirt, says Jay. It's lovely. I have had this shirt for a long time, and I'm pretty sure this was from Zara. But I think a lot of my clothes have to come from Zara, because if you're a guy who's looking for slightly more interesting clothes and you don't want to have to remortgage your house every time you want to buy a shirt, like for instance, if you wanted to buy a Dries Van Noten shirt, then a lot of the time you have to go to Zara. Anyway, the original Dries Van Noten is out of stock here, way back, says Woozy. I forget where here is, but yeah, I think it's out of stock in a lot of places. Anyway, we're going to move on to other things because we're at the 35-minute mark and we're not going to let this video go on for longer than an hour. But I should say that you are watching episode 272 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, wishing Eid Mubarak to everybody who is celebrating Eid, and happy Fête de Muguet to people in France and anywhere else that may be celebrating it. And this is a sort of feature-length video to talk about a few bits and bobs and just have some relaxed time with my perfumey friends around the world. And Yura says, I think you would suit Ted Baker, Mr. P. I do like some Ted Baker things, but have you seen how much their shirts cost? Unless you can get them at, like, discounters. And Terry says, looking very dapper today, Persolaise. Thank you very much. Okay, let's do a proper Is It Gonna Be Love at First Scent, because I wanted to smell this with you as well. I haven't unsealed this. This arrived a few days ago. It is the latest from Louis Vuitton, but this is the latest in their cologne collection, right? And it's called City of Stars. So let's do the uncellophaning thing. Did you like that? And I have got a little bit of a press release about this, but I have no idea what it's going to be like. Some of the Vuitton colognes have been pretty good, but again, this is an expensive brand. City of Stars, I'm sure, as you can see, refers to that town where awards show hosts get slapped by the guests. And what's the color of the bottle going to be? Ooh, interesting. Interesting color for a cologne. I had my headphones turned all the way up. I'm very, very sorry about that, Holly. You can turn them back up now. Do you think it's going to be classic Hollywood style, says Natasha? I like the box, a bit cliche, but I have these West Coast memories, says Natasha. I like this color. Right, let's see what this is going to be like. Let's pop this away because this one's going to fall out. I need to be careful here. I wonder if we're going to have a chance to smell this one as well. I've been meaning to tell you about this one for the longest time, and there hasn't been an opportunity. So maybe if we smell this fairly quickly, we'll be able to move on to the other one. Actually, no, let's pop that here because there isn't enough room. Right, so this is City of Stars. Oh, people are still giving me shopping tips, saying the Village franchise, Bicester Village, are pretty good for discount designer, both fancy men's clothes and perfume. Thank you very much. Maybe somebody who's watching from Zara or Ted Baker says, hey, we should send this guy some shirts. Anyway, let's spray. Let us spray. Please be good, because I shall be very upset if you're not. Let's pop that. That color is very, very cool. I need a shirt that color. I probably own a shirt that color. Okay, here we go. Ooh, okay. Cole says, totally 90s SoCal. Can't help but feel fond of that special variety of kitsch. This is interesting. Not what I was expecting. Right, let's just clear the nostrils for a sec. In case you're wondering what on earth I'm doing when I do that, I'm sure a lot of you do it as well, but it's just kind of trying to smell clean fabric and clean Zara fabric, available from all good Zaras near you, and clear the nostrils. I've just seen Shang Chen's comment. I got to smell City of Stars a few weeks ago, and my first thought was that only Louis Vuitton could take all the notes I love and make it into an amorphous, screechy mess. Shame, the packaging is so pretty too. But okay, I don't know what the notes are meant to be. I'm about to find out because I'm going to read the press release. But is it an amorphous mess? What it actually is just kind of generic clean. Maybe it is meant to be harking back to the 90s vibe of, CK1 and l'Odyssée. Not that it isn't like CK1 and it isn't like l'Odyssée, but it's got that super scrubbed cleanliness to it. And maybe that's why they've stuck it in their cologne range, if it is in their cologne range. Because it's just kind of streamlinedly clean without any particular note standing out. Toilet clean? No, not toilet cleaner vibes though, Holly. It's okay clean so far anyway. Generic clean is very 90s SoCal, says Rachel. Yes, just quietly citrusy, maybe quietly cedary, iso-y, supery. Hmm. Is it like Et à libre d'orange, You or Someone Like You, says Cole? Very much that same vibe. Now, see, I really love You or Someone Like You because I thought that was quite interesting, that the mintiness in that was really interesting. Zhang Chen says it was very shapeless, metallic, clean, abstract, citrus, floral to minor. I would go along with shapeless, but I think that's what's kind of surprising me because it's more a vibe than a scent. And maybe it's called City of Stars because it's meant to be a little bit generic. I'm curious. I mean, it's not that color at all. But let's get the press release out. Let us see what we can tell you about it. Where did I pop the press release? Did I put it in here? I think I may have done. Okay, here we go. Are you ready to be read to by Papa Persolaise? Louis Vuitton Cologne Perfumes collection has the particularity of distilling an ideal day. Fragrance after fragrance, hour by hour, the collection illuminates moments with an undulating melody. In ode to the vast, inspiring landscape of the West Coast. Oh, Terry, I've just seen that. That's very kind. You didn't need to do that. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Each cologne is like a ray of light. Okay. By turns soft or intense, spanning daybreak to after dark in the boundless city of angels. They are the chapters in a work etched out by master perfumer Jacques Cavallier Beltrude, an alchemist of scent who, for this collection, has created a singular alliance between the lightness of a fruity mist and the depth of flowers, like a summer novel in which each fragrance evokes a perfect point in time, from the caress of joyful morning to the rapture of a sunset. Okay, well, it's a fairly evocative copy, but what about this one? Thus arrives the fabulous night of City of Stars, the latest perfume by Louis Vuitton. City of Stars, the new opus in Louis Vuitton Cologne Perfumes collection, is an evening cologne. Okay, well, we'll give them that one. Let's let them have the evening cologne idea. A nocturnal fantasy in the heart of a city that never sleeps. In a rhapsodic Los Angeles, City of Stars recounts a night of promises, ardent emotion, slaps, soft sensuality, and darkness opalizing in morning's first light. Here is the atmosphere of the West Coast, its freedom, passion, and unfettered creativity. Please tell us what's actually meant to be in it. Right, here we go. City of Stars. A citrus quintet plus tiare flower plus sandalwood. Okay. Does it really say slaps? No. It really doesn't. Okay. City of Stars is an evening cologne, an innovation by Jacques Cavallier that reconciles the freshness of a cologne and the aristocracy of perfume. The brilliance of citrus brings the day's sunlight to the skin and draws it toward a dazzling night where anything might happen, Will Smith. City of Stars is an ode to nighttime, a feeling of freedom, a sensual tableau. And I'm just scanning through the next quote. Okay, we have got a little bit more of an explanation of the citrus notes in it. This is from Jacques Cavallier himself, allegedly. The light comes from the explosion of a citrus quintet: blood orange, lemon, red mandarin, bergamot, and lime. It blends those different flashes, showcasing their spontaneity in a swirling melody that envelops and caresses the senses. Okay, but you don't particularly pick one of them out. In fact, if there is anything that you pick out, it's that kind of tiare, frangipani sweetness. Professor Melvin has just said, aristocracy in the US, question mark, lol. Yeah, it's, I mean, I suppose I get what they're saying is let's try and do a cologne that will work more for nighttime in a hot place. But then why can't a regular cologne just work in the nighttime? And I suppose what they mean is to sort of move away from the obvious citruses and go for a kind of light floral. Cavalier's talents are being wasted at Louis Vuitton, says Time to Musk Up. Can we trade Dior's new perfumer, Francis Kurkdjian, with Louis Vuitton? Ooh, controversial, controversial. This is okay, but at the moment I'm struggling to kind of get what the point of it is really. Yeah, interesting. And I'm sure it sort of costs you know, whatever it is, 200 odd pounds for this bottle. And I need more time. I need more time to think about this one. It certainly isn't love at first scent, but it isn't a kind of dismiss at first scent either. Okay. I'm intrigued, which means we have just about got enough time for Pale Blue Eyes from Ross and Ross. Now, how many people out there? Gian says a 300 buck cologne for people who like to smell clean but find colognes too cheap. Interesting point. Yura says Rudy is trying to sabotage Dior on behalf of Guerlain to make them LVMH top dog. I haven't found a Louis Vuitton I want to buy so far, says Olfactive Stories. Natasha, is it a floral ylang frangipani vibe? What is a good, sorry, if it is a floral ylang frangipani vibe, what's a good alternative? I'm sure there's a customer base for this, says Gian. And I wonder if it smells different on skin, says Rachel. Well, let's see. Anyway, who has had much to do with this brand, Ross and Ross? You may remember that when they first emerged, they were called Dior Rose, and then I think they decided quite rightly that that was pigeonholing them too much and making people expect just rose perfumes, and they weren't about rose perfumes at all. This was co-founded by the legendary Chantal Ross. I would love to be able to get Chantal Ross to do an interview on this channel. I have tried in the past and we haven't managed it so far, but maybe I will. I have met her once and she was fascinating to listen to. If you don't know who she is, she was the person who was responsible for us having scents like YSL Kouros, amongst many, many, many other huge, huge releases. Okay, she is a real powerhouse of the industry, and there is nothing she doesn't know about it. There isn't anybody that she doesn't know, and is really fascinating to talk to. And at least when I met her, she absolutely loved talking about her past career. But she co-founded this brand, which is now called Ross and Ross, with her daughter. I want to say that her daughter is called Alexandra, but please, please, please don't shoot the messenger if that turns out to be wrong. And it's a brand that just, and Opium, absolutely, somebody said Opium as well. It's a brand that's sort of kept going. I don't think they've been as big in the UK as some people might have hoped. The UK range is very much streamlined now. It's not the entire range. Somebody's saying, what's my favorite from Ross and Ross? I definitely do have a favorite, and I know it's not in the UK anymore, but for the life of me, its name has escaped. It's the kind of licorice one. It's the one that's got shades of Dior's Eau Noir, and I've written about it and talked about it quite a good deal in the past. But I can't remember what it was. But if you look it up, you will find it. I think it's got mint in the name, something Mont. Anyway, this is Pale Blue Eyes, and I think this is from 2019, unless I'm mistaken. It's a Dominique Ropion, and I've Mentha Religiosa. Thank you very much, Mentha Religiosa. And from when I first smelt it a little while ago, I thought I need to find an opportunity to mention it to you, because yeah, because and it's really, really interesting that it's a Dominique Ropion, okay? Because this is the closest that I have ever smelt Dominique Ropion coming or returning to Dior's Dune. Now, he wasn't the sole creator of Dior's Dune, but I think he was one of the key creators, one of the main ones. And the first time I smelt it, I thought, wow, this is like Ropion thinking he's going to return to that Dune idea of that kind of green ambery feel. So something that has got that the amberiness that you would expect from maybe a kind of gently gourmand scent, but starts with that green sandy feel, pale, which ties in with the name, that we get from Dune. Dune is one of my absolute favorite perfumes of all time. Okay, if you've never smelled Dior's Dune, you really, really need to. It is actually still in pretty good shape, but I believe it's available only now as an EDT. Dune has been discontinued, says Time to Musk Up, if I'm not mistaken. It better not be. It better not be. Maybe they just couldn't keep it going anymore in a decent enough form. Right, you need to find Dune online, because no collection must be without Dune. But here, the floral note is a very, very gentle, none too obtrusive tuberose. And of course, as we know as well from Carnal Flower, Dominique Ropion knows how to handle a tuberose. And it's just gorgeous, and it needs to get so much more attention. What does the name refer to, says Lynn Leglaire? Well, it refers to the fact that Chantal Ross does have pale blue eyes, but I believe it's also a musical reference. I think it's the name of a song, but memory fails me. If you look it up, you'll be able to find it online, I'm sure. There isn't a huge amount online about this one. They just describe it as a journey in the Mediterranean basin along the most ancient routes of humanity across Europe, Africa, and Asia in pursuit of... Oh no, I'm reading the wrong one. As I was reading this, I thought, hang on, this doesn't describe this scent. What on earth am I talking about? This is a press release that I'm saving for another day in case we get to... Oh, I don't believe I just did that. You can tell this is all live, okay? Right, let's try again. I got rid of it when I shouldn't have. Let's just quickly go to this. Are we getting lots of lols coming through? Behind Blue Eyes, says Gyan. Chantal is obviously a Limp Bizkit fan, you think? Okay, let's try that again. Oh, no, this isn't working well at all. Why can't I get information about this one? Is this going to work? Okay, here we go. Enriched with a fruity whisper of tangerine and blackcurrant, Pale Blue Eyes is a captivating scent that rounds out in the heart with notes of tuberose, violet, and sandalwood. Spritz onto pulse points and you'll subtly notice it develop a woody, musk-like quality as it wears into the night. And the notes officially are tangerine essence, blackcurrant, tuberose, violet absolute, vetiver, sandalwood, and cashmeran, which, when you read it like that, doesn't make you think of Dune. Fosco is saying, which Dune are you referring to? I prefer Pour Femme to Pour Homme. No, sorry, when I say Dune, I mean the ladies one. I would have said Dune Pour Homme, which is also great. If I'd meant that one. Ropion loves blackcurrant, says Yura, and he uses it well. So this deserves more attention. It deserves more love. For all we know, for all I know, I'm far too late in mentioning it now, and it's been discontinued. But you should still be able to find it somewhere. Let me label this because we will do a blotter update. What's Terry saying? I'm broke just like the next guy, but giving to others is a very important... Oh, sorry. Well, I get what you're referring to. Much appreciated again. Time to Musk Up says, it's possible they've only removed it from America. Okay, so I'm guessing people have been going online and finding that it's available in some places, but not available everywhere. But if you can still find it, do check it out. I'm really, really taken with this. It's like a sort of modernized Dior Dune with that kind of tuberose inflection. It's available at the discounters, says It's Me, Aubrey, which is a fantastic note on which to end this episode. Okay, thank you very, very much for tuning into this feature-length one. Thank you very much for watching. Heads up on a few things coming your way. So on Wednesday's going to be what? Wednesday's going to be the 4th of May, so the evening, UK evening of the 4th of May. We're going to be interviewing none other than Aurélien Guichard, highly, highly acclaimed perfumer and son of the legendary man whose name I forgot, Jean Guichard, isn't it? And he's Aurélien, when he comes into the studio, is mainly going to be talking about his range Matière Première, but I'm sure he will take questions about his other work. And then also final confirmation coming soon, but I think it's pretty much like 99% confirmed. On the evening of the 9th of May, so Monday the 9th of May, I'm going to be interviewing Sally Hughes. Now, those of you who aren't based in the UK may not be aware of who she is, but she is certainly one of, if not the top beauty journalists in the UK. She writes for The Guardian, she's written several books, and she will be fascinating to talk to, not only because she is a perfume geek and loves perfume, but also I'd like to ask her some questions about what it's like being a perfume beauty journalist in the mainstream media when you're dealing with pressures like, advertisers telling you that, that they're going to pull their advertising contracts if you don't write favorably about their products, etc., etc. She will be very, very, very interesting. And a few more interviews lined up as well, and lots more videos to come. So yeah, stay tuned to social media for details of when all of that is going to be happening. But for now, thank you very much for watching. Be good, stay safe, and I will see you very, very soon. Take care now.